Hey, David Brewster here, on the 3 for All. This is 3 Saul Hudson licks from 1992. And of course, if I'm mentioning Saul Hudson, I'm talking about Slash. And Slash has been on the scene since around 1981. Definitely exploded with Guns N' Roses like in the mid to late 80s. He's played with Velvet Revolver and Miles Kennedy and Motorhead and Ozzy and a ton of people. So here's an image with some of the people that Slash has played with in his lengthy and very impressive career. I did put together a Chordplay for Guns N' Roses. I think that was last year. And Slash's guitar style is this really gritty, gutter rock, I guess you could think of it. Elements of blues and rock mixed together. I'm definitely hearing, Jimmy Page. I know Jeff Beck was a big influence for him. The Rolling Stones and Cream. I'm also hearing a little bit of Mick Ronson in there, and maybe a little bit of Paul Kossoff too. Just that really stinging and biting, bending and vibrato. Great player, tons of feel. And like I mentioned, that gutter rock, term, that really was kind of like when Guns N' Roses hit the scene, they were so different than everybody else on the scene. Everybody was polished and they had keyboards and, permed hair and spandex pants and ballads and all this stuff. And then Guns N' Roses came out and they literally looked like they'd had an all-night bender at a biker bar and then they showed up for a photo shoot. Just very grimy and gritty. You couldn't even see Slash's face for decades, and then finally you could start to see a little bit more of his face. So very unusual and different when they hit the scene, and then definitely, Appetite for Destruction just took over, and suddenly Slash was a guitar hero overnight. So the licks in this lesson came from a live performance in Tokyo, Japan from 1992, and Slash is just rocking out. And it actually starts with this kind of groove, jam with the band. And he's using a talk box, and it's really cool. Like, check out this clip of this kind of opening jam here. It's really rocking. I can't really show that clip and not show that lick or the part of that riff right there, but it's something like this in G minor pentatonic. One more time. Talk box, so I'm missing that. But then he's basically starting with this smeared double stop bend there on the 5th fret on the G and the B. And he does, a double stop on the 5th fret to the double stop on the 3rd fret right there. And then he starts doing this really funky kind of riff. Something like that. So it's like 2 of those G's, 2 F's, and then you're going to hammer on that F to G. Got this really funky kind of groove to it. But that was just an extra lick. The first lick's actually this gritty blues rock phrase in G minor pentatonic. It also flirts with the G blues scale a little bit. Something like this. One more time. So we're in G blues, G minor pentatonic, and he's starting with the double stop there on the 3rd fret. And this is right after the band stops, and then Slash comes out and plays this riff, or this lick. And he's starting with this kind of funky double stop. Something like that. There's some percussive, muted strums in there. And then this G, F to D note. And then you want to get funky on that single F right there. Just for a second. Like that. And then you got this blues scale riff right here. So it's D, D flat to C, and then D flat, C, D flat, C, and then you're going to slide to that B flat. So really slow. And then end on that G note right there. Right. So really slow. G note, you want to grab a B flat power chord right there. Grab an F power chord and add a little vibrato on the top. And then you hear him slide to this partial G power chord. And then back to that double stop there on the 3rd fret on the G and the B. So one more time all the way through. Okay, up next is the G minor pentatonic speed lick, and it's kind of unorthodox, but something like this. One more time. So it's really weird because you've got, 4 notes on 3 strings, and there's a pull-off right in the middle like this. And it's really hard to keep that clean, so you definitely don't want to bar right there on the 6th fret, because we're grabbing this. But you don't want to bar it because then you're going to hear this noise. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to bar it to try to make it easier. You actually want to lift up and move, through all 4 of those notes. And some of you might actually want to tap that. And honestly, if I was going to play that lick, I would play it more like this, which I actually use this lick sometimes, but that kind of pull off right there on the G. And I'm just kind of rolling over there with my middle finger to grab that D note, but it's the same lick, just arranged in a different way. Okay, next up is another blurry speed lick, and this is using the G blues scale, so we're targeting that flat 5, and this is really cool. Something like this. One more time. So we're still in G blues, and we're basically starting on D, and then we're going to target that flat 5 right there, that D flat. So you're coming down, D, D flat, and then go back to that D. You want to go down to this B flat, and then you're ending on that G right there. And then right there, you're going to change it, and you're going to start on that D flat to C, like this. So the whole lick's the same, it's just the first 2 notes that's changing. Everything else is the same. And we're just basically, starting with that. And then we're doing... So you've got this alternating, kind of back and forth motion there. Really cool lick, and definitely an attention getter. That's going to grab somebody's attention when they hear that. And it's a good challenge for your fret hand too. I'm using all 4 fingers right there, which is great. Okay, here's a bonus lick from this live solo, and it's this melodic D minor based arpeggio phrase, something like this. One more time. So right there you can think of D minor pentatonic like 2 positions, and we're kind of weaving between them. Think of position 5 right here. And position 1, like what I'm calling the box. And we're basically weaving between them, so you're starting with that D note right there, and then you're shifting into the box right there. So one more time right there, and then you want to travel strum down this E to D right there after that. And then you're going to hammer on D, E, D. Like a hammer on pull off right there. Grab the C to A, and then bend that C up to D. And then end on that D note right there. Something like this, really slow. And I love phrases like that, where it's, it's weaving between different positions, and it's definitely melodic. It's based around an arpeggio. I'm a big fan of phrases like that. That's going to wrap this look at 3 Slash licks from 1992. And Slash has always been very dynamic and expressive, lots of feel, always, great tone. And I've always liked his ideas, whether it's his leads and his fills, or it could be his riffs, and his rhythms and stuff. Great player. I've had a lot of requests to feature him, and also my nephew Zach, took one of his favorite guitarists, so I felt like I had to put this together. Sorry for the delay with Slash here, but definitely he's a legend of guitar. And, I've talked to so many people that he's kind of like their guilty pleasure, like maybe they're a jazz musician or they're into metal or something, and then they admit, like, I really like Slash. I think he's, he's a cool guitarist or whatever. Regardless of what style they actually play, blues or metal or whatever. There's a lot of respect for Slash. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Midnight Lessons, and I'll be back before you know it with more content and material. Thank you.